dad would get drunk and beat my mom, and yeah. I've been in jail for 18 years out of my life. Most of that time, I've been addicted to drugs and alcohol. Even when I'm homeless, the world is my home.
So I'm here with?
My name's Ernest. My name's Ernest Coulinaire.
Nice to meet you, Ernest. Whereabouts are you from originally?
I'm from Kamloops, BC.
And how was your childhood in Kamloops?
My childhood was it's pretty difficult. Yeah.
Can you describe it?
It was a struggle. I had alcoholic parents. I come from a mixed heritage. That was difficult. My background. Okay, let's put it down like this first. Okay, I've been in jail for 18 years out of my life. Most of that time, I've been addicted to drugs and alcohol. Most of my life I've suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. That's because I found out in federal prison, taking a violent offenders course, they regressed my memory. I didn't know why my temper was out of proportion, even for a man in jail. So they regressed my memory. When they regressed my memory, they found out that my mother took me and my sister on the side of a road, logging road, and she said to my sister, "Kiss your brother goodbye because he's going first, and then you're going second, and then I'm killing myself last." That's what my mother said to us when I was 8 years old and my sister was 10. All I remember really is my mom pointing the gun at me and then the gun dry firing, but it's wholly affected my life. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I took several psychoactive drugs, and there's a 1% of the population suffers, and then when they take Seroquel, 1% of the population, it induces psychotic episodes, and I fit into that category. So every time I was in prison, they would tell me that I had to take this drug, Seroquel, and it induced psychotic episodes, and therefore I was never ever really out of the hole because of that. They always had me on behavior modification programs, SHU programs, special handling units, and they made me take these drugs, CSE. So yeah, and they found that out when I was 42 in prison, federal prison. I've had a hard life because of that. So being out of jail, they said I had to take this drug, and then when I took the drug, then it induced psychotic episodes. Therefore, it made my life, how would you say it, turbulent. Let's say turbulent. And use for other words. My life has been a big bag of fucking garbage.
How did they find that out?
They regressed my memory through hypnosis. And I didn't even know that till I was 42, and my life was better without me knowing it. Now that I know it, I don't know I don't know. I don't know. My life sucks. It sucks.
What were you in jail for at the time?
I was in jail for violence, and that was because of the Seroquel. The Seroquel made me have psychotic episodes. Yeah. And then I was on probation, so that even on probation, they would tell me, "Oh, you gotta take this medication, or else you go back to jail." And then constantly they would tell me to take this medication. That's the big pharmaceutical companies. That's what they do to us. But off of it, you can see I'm off of it now, and I'm able to communicate well. I'm able to deal with my situations, but it's hard for me to live daily now because my post-traumatic stress. I just don't. But I'm glad I have an opportunity to tell the world just who I am. This is the real me, right? You know, this isn't the person that they say I was. Is not. That's not who I was. That's who they made me. CSC, the machine. A failed experiment. Yeah.
Are you homeless right now?
Yeah, I'm homeless. More homeless because I've been in jail 18 years out of my life, and I can't stand to live in a box because of being in prison. So, yeah, if you call that rehabilitation, then I don't know, man. I don't want it. So now I can't stand to live indoors, even if I'm freezing, soaking wet. I just can't live indoors anymore. Because even if I'm homeless, the world is my home. At least I'm free. Yeah.
Do you remember your first time doing drugs?
Yeah. I was 12 years old. Gateway drugs. Smoked some really good hash oil. And then it was pretty. I thought it was cat's ass. But I wish I would. Honestly, I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have just. I wish I would have had a real family that could have. Yeah. I left home at 11, right? So.
And why is that?
Because of my violence in my family. My dad would get drunk and beat my mom, and and then also that helped desensitize me to violence, right? So it's not just. I'm not just a violent person. It's a whole. There's a whole process to it, right? Yeah.
What are some of the crimes that you committed to go to jail?
Because of my family fighting, like my father beat my mom, most of my crimes were more, how would you say, I'd put the cape on, right? So, say, my friends that were girls when I was growing up, they would get raped, right? So I would end up smashing out these fucking skinners, excuse my language, these rapists or whatever, and I would get charged for assault. I just couldn't. I don't like people hurting women. You know what I mean? It's just sickening. Yeah.
And at what age did you come down here to Vancouver?
For the last 20 years, I've been down here in East Van because when I got out of prison, they'd send me to Falcon House and other halfway houses. And then I would be, and that was the wrong thing to do, because what they did is they exposed me to the subculture of the street life, right? So I would be exposed to all this crime and violence, you know what I mean? What have you, right? I wish I was.
And what's it like on East Hastings for people who aren't familiar with it?
Basically, it's a hierarchy. People that aren't used to the hood, or to the people in the hood, or living in the hood, they're basically, there's two kinds of people. There's sharks, and then there's guppies. That's what there is in East Van. That's the most real opinion I could give, right?
What are some of the most extreme things you've seen out here?
I've seen, just the other day, I see a guy got bear sprayed by the cops, and then they shot him, killed him. The cops, I've seen, they're the biggest gang around. They just push their weight around, think that, you know, they're a job, they're the people that are protecting society. They're not. They're the biggest gang around. Cops. So they just want to, I don't know what their agenda is, but it's not a good one.
Do you think there's an opioid crisis down here?
Oh, there definitely is. It's from the pharmaceutical companies, and this is my opinion. Okay, this is prime real estate. East Van, right? There's a lot of homeless people. They pushed into a 2x4 block radius, and they've crammed people in it and compacted that. So they compact the violence, they compact the alcohol abuse, the drug abuse. It's not helping anybody. It's just, I think that they have an agenda. I think that their agenda is to eradicate us homeless, and then get this prime real estate for the uppies and so on and so forth. And I think that it's a three-tier agenda. I think first they opened Riverview back up, so now they put back in people with mental disorders, right? And then now they're going to put people with drug and mental disorders. And then the third agenda is they're going to just put people with drug, mental disorders, and homelessness. And they're all going to put us in there and trying to eradicate us. Because as you can tell on the internet, it's shown that by 2055 there will be a world famine, right? So, I mean, world famine, no food, not food here and there, but no food. You know what I mean? And then what? What are we going to turn to next? You know? We're not going to evolve, we're going to de-evolve. And it's too late for us as human beings. It might not be. Hopefully it isn't, but I don't see a good future. I've had dreams of my demise, if you will, my passing. In my dreams, I get devoured by cannibals. Yeah.
What do you think can be done to help other homeless people like yourself?
Well, I have an idea, and it's to help the environment, to help homeless. It's actually to eradicate homelessness. See, first, if you want to make a society evolve, you have to have it so that everybody is housed. Okay? So take it like this, okay? Ants, okay? Just because ants, there's no homeless ants, right? Cockroaches, there's no homeless cockroaches. They all live together. You know, they don't kick each other out for money or for food or whatever, right? You know, this is what we have to do. With all the plastic that we've made in the world since the 1950s, right? There's 70 trillion tons of plastic floating around in the ocean or on the land, right? If we collected all that and redid it all and made houses, I've made diagrams of these houses. They're only 10 pieces, and what they would do is they would all fit together, right? Like interlock. So you could have these housing communities anywhere. You can have them on the ocean, and that'd be a good idea because most of the ocean's dead anyways, right? So you're not losing anything, and it would give the land time back to heal. But it's only made out of 10 pieces, and it would help everybody. Okay, homeless. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so the homeless people, if you get homeless people, right? Okay, in the downtown core of Vancouver, there's 4,000 people homeless at any given time. That's the given numbers, right? So you get them 4,000 people, right? And you get these plastic houses, right? It helps the environment. It helps the homeless have a place to stay. Therefore, it gives them a chance to buy a house. But they won't get this house for free. These houses will come in at a cost of $3,000, and $3,000 times 4,000. That's a lot of money, right? So, anyways, and then with that money from building these houses, you put that in programming, right? So homeless people can easily accept programming more if they have their own house, if they're given something, if it's a reward system, right? All animals on earth have been tamed from this treatment. Okay, anyways, so $3,000, right? This is my numbers. You get these houses every time. The 4,000 people in pilot project is what I'm trying to say. And these 4,000 people would be given these houses. So given these houses, it would give them something in their hearts and minds, like, because nowadays, not even rich people can own their own house, right? And if poor people were able to have their own house, then it would be something to make them proud, to make them whole again, to have them feel secure. Because downtown in the east side, there's a thing called digging. Okay, when people are sleeping, these people, they go around and they steal other poor people's possessions and stuff, and they make a market out of that. Like, you know, like, okay, this guy steals this guy's stuff, and then he puts it on a market, and he steals all his stuff, and he sells that stuff. And these guys sell that stuff for drugs or whatever, what have you, whatever they want. And then it's just, it's a revolving door, because the more people, poor people come into Vancouver, the more people get dug, right? And then sometimes people only have like 6 bags to their being, right? And then they'll get dug. Their bags get dug. So getting dug means that they'll be sleeping or be on drugs, and their bags will be torn through, right? And then they'll have no money, no nothing, and it'll just break their heart because they have nothing already, right? And then these other guys, these other, I don't know, I call them pieces of garbage because that's what poor people shouldn't steal off of poor people, right? Nobody should really steal off of anybody because everything's given to us. You know, there's always food down here. If you're hungry down here, the only reason you're hungry down here is because you're lazy. There's enough food down here on the east side that nobody should go hungry, right? So that's not an excuse, right? Yeah, but these guys that dig other people, these guys are a disease that need to be eradicated. It's sickening, man. It's sickening to have you only have so many possessions. You can only hold so many possessions because of homelessness, right? And then these guys, opportunists, they come and steal everything off everybody. It's just terrible, man. Especially these people that are all addicted to drugs. You know what I mean? It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up.
What happened to your neck, if you don't mind me asking?
Where?
Or your back?
Oh, my back. I've had a hernia for 3 years. So, and it was inaugural. I think that's how you say it. But it's lower, right? Anyways, so my back, I used to walk straight, right? But because of my hernia, it was my gut muscles, my back muscles were couldn't support my whole torso, right? You know what I mean? So I had all my gut muscles were coming through my stomach. That's a hernia, right? So I'd walk over like hunched over, right? Just so my guts wouldn't come out of my stomach. And I just recently got a hernia operation done, but I still walk hunched over because of it's habit forming, right? You know, you've done that for 3 years hunched over like this, then you're gonna have some, you know, you gotta get retrained. You know what I mean? Basically, like now I got it fixed like 2 months ago, and I still walk hunched over. But my girlfriend, she always, God bless her soul, she always tells me, oh, okay, honey, you gotta walk straight up, straighten your back. So thank God to her that I try to do that. And other people tell me too, so I'm just saying thank God that there is some love in this community that people say that, right?
And what's your drug of choice nowadays?
What's my drug of choice? Everything. I'm not biased, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's weed, sometimes it's I like being a rock star, right? Sometimes the world's getting me down, so I gotta do some down, right? Just depends, you know what I mean?
Do you have a favorite?
My favorite is pussy. No, but no, I love all drugs because it gets me out of here, right? It helps me escape, right? Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.